Okay, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, should I say now, actually, midday. Welcome to today's webinar called Winning Business in a Demanding Property Market. The webinar today is, I'm hosting it really with Adam Bullion, my name is. I'm General Manager of Marketing here at InfoTrack. I'm also joined today by Yvonne Hirons from Perfect Portal, who's the CEO there. And I'm also delighted to be joined by Meredith Hooper from Macmillan Williams, who is already a Perfect Portal user. And Meredith will be conducting a bit of a Q&A session after we've been through some of the points in the webinar later on. So if you've got questions, there is a bar which someone's already used here, which you can enter your questions into, and we'll try and come back to those at the end of the webinar, in addition to a few already set questions. So welcome. Without further ado, I'm going to try and click on. Here we go. Right, so what are we talking about today? Really, I think my job today is very much about trying to give you a little bit of insight into the market. I think everyone is already aware that the SRA and CLC, there's price transparency regulations that come into force, announced this morning, I believe, for December the 6th, 2018. And I think it's fair to say that it's not necessarily clear as to what, or it's been left open to interpretation. Which I think is absolutely a good way of doing it. But I think also you need to be aware of what your clients need and what their expectations are, and then obviously what your opportunities are in the market. So really, this is very much about me providing you with a little bit of insight into how you can grow your business and win new business in the market. I'll also go through how an effective ecosystem works, and then I'll hand over to Yvonne to conduct a short demo on Perfect Portal, and then we will, I'm really looking forward actually to hearing from Meredith as well in terms of the questions. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So first thing I want to talk about though really is buyer behavior has changed, okay? And there is very little difference between someone who shops on the high street or shops online and someone who shops around for a conveyancer. It's essentially a similar transaction. And we conducted some recent research that told us the following three key points. The first thing is, in the last year, 59% of people buying a home received quotes from 2 or more conveyancers. And that seems quite high. Quarter of the recent buyers have actually obtained a quote online. And the third one here, 44% say all conveyancers seem the same. So there are a number of reasons why these have come out on top and why I put these up here. And I'm going to almost give everything away before I actually start my presentation. But I really want to kind of combat some of these and tell you a reason as to why these things are happening. So, for example, a quarter of recent buyers have obtained a quote online. Why is it only a quarter of buyers? Probably because we haven't got, or we're not offering the tools to home movers to actually receive a quote online. What that means is that they're actually going away and getting multiple quotes. They're having to phone a conveyancer, leave a message to receive that quote, and then they go and find one online potentially, so they get those multiple quotes. And ultimately what this means is they're also saying that conveyancers aren't giving them enough information online, or there's not enough information to actually talk them through the process. Hence why they see conveyancers seem to be the same in terms of what their differentiations are. So I'm going to try and prove all of that, what I've just said there. And the first thing I want to say, and I don't know if anyone has Google Analytics on their websites, but it's worth putting on your website to understand when you have traffic coming into you. Because we understand that over 60% of website traffic is outside of regular business hours. So your website traffic is coming into you probably 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. during the week, and it's actually coming into you on a weekend as well. And they are generally at times when many of us are not operational, we're not available. So think about that. If I'm searching a website, and I can't find the information I need, the first thing that I do is then I move on. I go to the next website and I'm trying to find somewhere that is going to give me that information. It's going to give me a little bit more information about price, how much it's going to cost me, and what the process is. Then the behavior again has changed here. You know, all of this has driven an increase in the number of quotes that are actually obtained. And it's really online that's actually started to affect these figures, really. So what you see is 3 years ago, 72% of clients will actually only ever receive one quote. And they'll instruct on that one quote. 3 years ago, it's 59%. And within the last year, it's 39%. And you've got 59% then getting more than 2 quotes. But actually, I think the real opportunity here is that if you can give them the information early doors up front, then they will actually convert earlier in the process. They will click instruct. They will call you and say, yeah, okay, I'm happy. I understand the process and I understand what I'm going to be paying and no more. And that's going to give me, that's enough information for me to make a really informed decision, okay? So when I start to think about that, that then suggests to me that that's first impressions. That's my impression of your firm at the point at which I want to engage with you, which is online, okay? It's not a phone call in because I know you're not necessarily open on a Saturday at 3 p.m. And that then leads us into the expectations of service, okay? Because it's more than just about the quotes. It's more than just about first impressions. And really, I talk about the expectations of service having evolved over time. And it's more about what you do from the very beginning of a transaction to the very end of a transaction. And our research actually shows that clients still very highly value the expertise that you deliver. Now, think about what the expertise means, and the expertise is really, that's the service. That's the service that you deliver, okay? So let me separate that out, because I think the clients now expect a little bit more than just service. They expect that service in terms of expertise, but actually they demand an experience now. They're not necessarily looking just for that service and that expertise. They actually want that experience, okay? And to put that into some kind of context, I'll share with you some figures that have come from various research groups around the world. So from here, from McKinsey, 70% of buying experiences are based on how the customer feels they are being treated. By 2020, customers will manage 85% of the relationship with an enterprise without interacting with a human. 72% of businesses say that improving the customer experience is their top priority. 75% of online customers expect help within 5 minutes. And there is a real truth in that, by the way. And 62% of companies view customer experience delivered by the contact centers as a competitive differentiator. All of this adds up to something that was in the Customers 2020 report, which says by 2020, customer experience will overtake price and product as the key brand differentiator. That's a huge bit of insight in terms of what we can do now to actually differentiate ourselves. And this is okay, yeah, this is a wider market, I suppose, but even if I look into what the home mover market want, the home mover market, say 2/3 of respondents are unhappy with the communication of their law firm. That's 66%. But what does that mean? That means that they're not getting the experience throughout the process. They may be getting the service, and generally the research says to us that most people are happy with the outcome, with the result. They've moved house, yes, but they're not so happy with the experience throughout the process. Excuse me. So all of this is a little bit of a customer insight, but what's the actual opportunity? Well, looking at some SRA research here, the SRA say that clients or home movers, actually close to 70%, want information at their fingertips. They want to be able to access price information, process information, and so on, but they're saying it's not there. Only 15% of people found the pricing information that they actually needed or allowed them to make an informed decision. That means there's 85% of the market out there that is actually looking for that information. If you can be first to the market with that quickly, then you're going to win. Why? Because only 18% of firms currently publish price information. That's pretty big. I think similarly, it's clear that law firms can actually step up and actually really compete and drive sort of their own differentiator. Because here, this is from an Altman Weil report, and it asked law firm leaders about efficiencies and technology within the law firm. And this here says, you know, how important is efficiency in law firms? So left it blank, but what percentage of law firm leaders think a focus on improved practice efficiency is a permanent trend in the legal market? So I'll give you a clue, it's not over 100%, but I'm surprised by this figure, but it is actually 93%. So 93% of us on this call today believe that we've got an ongoing focus on improving efficiency through great technology, yeah? Where the real opportunity lies is the number of people who have actually employed something to change their approach to efficiency and effectiveness. Only 44, so that's half the people half the law firms have actually done something about it. So very few actually change their approach. So there's a really prime opportunity for law firms to really step up and really compete across all of that with that information in mind. Okay, so what the important aspect is for any law firm is to have a very clear ecosystem to be able to deliver that service, that transparency throughout a process, that experience. Because we talk about price transparency, it's not necessarily just at the beginning stage of the process, it's all the way through. And it's being able to utilize the tools that you have at your disposal to actually make them work together to give that experience. So this is obviously something that you would know, but obviously you have the buyer, the vendor, Saturday afternoon, maybe he's with his mortgage broker and his real estate, or he's with his mortgage broker or he's with his estate agent. And the estate agent and the mortgage broker are people who are going to recommend him a number of law firms, yeah? So what they'll do is they can then plug that straight into the law firm there and then. Alternatively, the buyer might find his dream home on a Saturday afternoon, want to find out how much it's going to cost him to move, and therefore he'll go and look for law firms himself, okay, on a Saturday afternoon. Now, this is where Perfect Portal really come in, because what Perfect Portal are able to do is they're able to help create that quote both for the referral network, but for the buyer individually if they're coming directly to your website. They're able to provide that information in an instant, on demand, when that client absolutely wants it and needs it to make that decision. And if you think back to what I've said earlier, you know, there's a lot of clients out there who are going to respond to the first quote they get, because all they've got is they've got their mind on that prize, which is their property. But what Perfect Portal enables us to do is it integrates with case management systems. What does that mean? That means that you can employ the likes of key stages, and you can tell and inform all the parties involved in the transaction what stage you're at. So think again about that experience over that level of service. It's the experience that they need. They want to know when contracts have been signed, for example, or when the searches have been returned, or any of the key stages within that transaction. You can then plug in and provide to the buyer, the vendor and the buyers, but you can also send that to the mortgage broker and the real estate agents. That takes a lot of phone calls off of your plate. And the reality is that buyers nowadays, their levels of expectation isn't for you to call them every other day to give them an update. It's actually they want to be able to get that information just when it happens, almost in real time, okay? So that's where Perfect Portal play, but obviously if you don't have case management, then you've got InfoTrack, because the beauty with the integration with InfoTrack and case management is that all of your costs to provide that complete service in terms of that experience of how much of my search is going to be, how much of my indemnity is going to be, they come straight back into Perfect Portal because of that clear integration. And then you have that very nice triangle of Perfect Portal, case management, and InfoTrack all interacting with one another. Okay, so before we just move on to the demo, second to last slide. So just want you to think about this. What do clients now expect from you? Well, they expect a quick and clear communication. They don't necessarily want you to call them. They just want the snippets. Think about if any of us have got children, it's almost the YouTube generation, that bite-sized chunk information as and when it happens. They're all on WhatsApp, so they get information very quickly. And that's how we all expect to interact nowadays. And it's not just an younger generation, it is the older generation as well now. We also want transparency. So as an example of that, I want transparency of what's happening. If I'm just about to employ a builder, I don't want that builder to tell me my extension is going to cost me £30,000 and then I disappear out the house and then I just come back to an end product. I want an ongoing status. I want it to be visible in terms of, are there any additional costs that I need to know about? Are there any additional building needs that I need to know about throughout that whole process? It's no different to how a conveyancing process works. Online, device-friendly websites, yes, absolutely. I think very quickly Google actually said yesterday or the day before that the voice first, the Google Homes and interactive technology that you can interact with using your voice is going to be their key focus for the coming years. That's how fast technology is moving, but it's also influencing how we actually behave because we expect that speed of response. Our research talks about how to reduce the frustrations and how to increase trust with clients. And absolutely, if you can provide them that information throughout, it does reduce their frustrations because it means that they're kept in the loop, but it also builds that trust with clients. All in all, this is about the experience, not just the level of service that you provide them. Okay, so that's really me. I just want you to really consider these key points here, which is change has already happened. Clients have actually changed, but we've got a little bit of catch up to do. But the great news is that there's loads of opportunities here. It's not just about what the SLC and SRA regulations are. They're very open to interpretation. Yes, you could publish just an example of a transaction on your website, but is that enough? Now knowing what you know from this presentation, is that enough to deliver what your clients need? We've all got to remain relevant. We've got to use the innovative tools that help you ramp up your business. And I know Perfect Portal provide a hell of a lot of features that really help businesses react to the market. And finally, use tech that's simple to implement. Use web-based software, stuff that interacts with your case management system. It's simple, it's more enjoyable way of doing things. So that's me until we get to the questions. I'm now going to pass over to Yvonne. Sorry, Yvonne, I've taken quite a long time. I'm going to pass over to you to do a quick demo.
That's great. Thank you very much. And I love the reminder of a quick demonstration. Anybody that has a demo with me knows that I do like to talk about it quite a bit. So I will try and keep this as brief as possible. So Perfect Portal, what is it? It is a new business management system. You can all see my screen okay, and you can see a mobile phone there?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you. And what that does is it helps you, Perfect Portal is there to help you win more business, focus on where your work is coming from and what your conversion rates look like. Today, I'm going to show you from a referrer's perspective how easy it is for them to either pass you a lead or generate a quote instantly for their clients. I'm also going to show you the website calculator or how you can have that just generate a lead for you. I'm going to also show you how you can internally generate a quote for your client. So that will be a client coming into your office or calling you on the phone. And then I'll finish off with just showing you the Infotrac integration and how you can access Perfect Portal from Infotrac and how we itemize those searches together with some of the reports and the dashboard, which you'll be able to see sat behind the mobile phone there as well. Alrighty, so let's think of a scenario of a estate agent or mortgage broker and they're with the client. So they want to be able to send either a lead to you or actually generate a quote whilst they're on the fly. So you'll see that there's two apps on my phone there. You've got Perfect Update, which is the end client app, and you've also got Referring Smart. And you'll see that it is fingerprint ID, so it makes it nice and easy for the mortgage broker or the estate agent to access the actual app. They have their own dashboard, but what I'm going to do is show you just how easy it is for them to generate a lead. You will see there's two options there. You have got lead and new quote. So as I say, if you wanted your referrers to generate a quote, they could do. For this demo, we're just going to do a purchase, a normal standard, and we're going to do it as a lead. We will add some minimal information here because we don't want to ask them too much info because they are stood with the client. And email address, so demo@perfectportal.co.uk. You'll see that it's automatically got the referrer's details there. So I'm Jeff Hall. And if you're a multi-office law firm, I can select the office that I want to pass this lead to. So I literally click send lead, and that's it. That's all your mortgage broker or estate agent has had to do in order to generate an actual lead to you. So I'm just going to move that over there. And if you heard my emails, you will have seen that as the law firm, I now receive an email to inform me that a lead has been generated. It's instant. I can see who that lead has been generated by. So if you remember, it was Jeff Hall at Easy Move. There's my client name, and all I have to do is click assign. I've got all my client's information here. It's not had to be passed to a receptionist. Somebody's not had to pass me a message or anything like that. I've not had to write anything down. I've got the information there. So I pick up the phone, I speak to the client, and I'm ready to convert this into a quote. It's pulled through all the information for my estate agent that's passed the lead. I'm going to add a postcode because the integration with Infotrac is actually going to pull the searches that are required for that particular property. I've got my government questions there, so I can select those as required, and I'm literally now converting that into into a quote, sorry. Now, I don't have to worry about what those government costs are going to be. I can have a conversation, a meaningful conversation with the client, which is sometimes something that law firms forget to do because they're frantically trying to do exchanges and completions. They're just literally trying to bang out a quote as quickly as possible. So you can have a real engaging conversation with them. You can email this quote out to them, and you can then talk them through it. Now, before I do that, I just want to show you some of the ways in which you can tailor the format of these quotes. And I think this is quite important in relation to the SRA and CLC regulations, and again, how you interpret those. So anywhere where you see legal fees, additional fees, disbursements, you can decide what they say. You can decide, for example, if you wanted your government fees not to be split out, set within your disbursements, you can do that. Or if you want your additional costs listed underneath your legal fees, all of this is completely tailored by you. Now, while you're talking to the client, you might want to apply a discount. So if they're an existing client, we can very simply apply a discount, and there it is, shows as a minus figure. That will help you win new business, because it's not just taking off the legal fees where they don't really see it. They can actually see that discount given. And likewise, you can create fees as well. You can delete things. You can even add further information about some of these things, which gives them that explanation as to what those things are. And again, there are the searches that are required for that particular postcode. Okay, so we're now ready to email that out to the client. You can add additional, sorry, I just added that wrong there. You can add additional users if you wanted to, and I can't type today. Perfectportal.co.uk. There we go. So I'll just make sure that that's correct. And I can then simply click send email. So what we're doing now is from a lead from our estate agent or mortgage broker, we have then picked up the phone straight away to the client. We've converted that into a quote. We've spoken to the client, and we've now emailed that to them. So again, just going back to what Adam was saying, if clients are shopping around for a quote, the quicker that you get the quote to them, the more likely they will instruct you. All this is completely tailored for you. Our marketing department make a cracking job of this to make sure your brand stands out. We do nice quote headers, so there's a header, and there is a full breakdown of the costs. And it also includes the referral as well, which shows that trusted relationship between you and the estate agent that actually recommended you to the firm. So nicely displayed, nice and clear. You've got your disclaimers that sit at the bottom. And you also have a nice cover sheet, which will always add a testimonial or something from one of your clients as well, because again, that will just help you win that business as well. You can also add attachments. So we found this really good as well. Feedback has been great. A user guide as to how buying and selling. You can have whatever you want. There's a call to action for your clients, so they even know what they need to do next. So they can click there, and again, you will receive an email in order to take those instructions from the client. Okay, so that's from referrers into your business. I'm now going to show you what it looks like from your website. So you can have an embedded version, or you could have the floating version, which is there. And again, it's so easy from the client's perspective. They fill out some information here. They put in the purchase price, number of buyers, they add their postcode. Again, that will pull through the searches required. They answer the questions. You can also have voucher codes if you wanted to, and they can literally get estimate. And there it is. Now, that is an example of the clients being able to self-serve and obtain a quote from your website instantly. You may prefer to have it as a lead generation, as I showed you before, where they form fill and exactly what I showed you previously, but they don't actually get a quote here displayed. So what it will do is it will tell them that somebody from your office will call them, and you can decide what that says. You will receive an email, again, prompting you that somebody wants an actual quote. So you don't have to have it displayed like that, but you can if you want to. Okay, so that's the website. Now, internally, so this is your system. This is your desktop version. It's also mobile friendly. And what you can do from here, this is your main menu down the left-hand side. You can simply generate a new quote. For the ultimate lazy referrers that don't want to do anything but pass you a lead, then you can obviously generate that quote on their behalf. But if it's a private client and they've called you, you can add a lead source. Very important, because you can see where your work is coming from, but it will also check to see whether that client exists. So if they exist, or they've had a quote from the referrer and then they come to you, your system will check to see whether they have had a quote previously. Again, you fill out all your information and generate your quote. And you do it exactly the same way as I showed you. You can apply your discounts, email it out to your clients, etc. There's full management of that quote within there too. So that's how you generate your quotes internally. Now, before I show you the dashboard, I'm going to just show you how the Infotrac integration works as well. So within your Infotrac system, you'll see here you've got your quote, which is the quoting tool within Infotrac that again talks to the Perfect Portal system, or you can simply click on dashboard, which will take you straight through to here, which again then you're into actually generating a quote. It's as simple as that. All right, so dashboard. Dashboard can be specific to either your company, your offices, or individual users as well. So you can restrict what is viewed. You can also restrict financial information as you're adding your users within the firm. We are defaulted to the last 30 days, but you can apply any date range that you want to, and it just helps you. You can see this for yourself. You know, just looking at this new business tile here, you can see what is your private quotes. What's that look like? How many of you had in the last 30 days? So 36, and it's worth just under 11,000. It then tells you that instant conversion rate. So you've actually converted 28% of that, so you've won that. You've got 61% in your pipeline, so that's unconverted quotes that need working on and converting. And then obviously you're lost as well, and how much that is. Now we compare this business from your private to referred, again, conversion rates, and also your web. So everything comes into this one central dashboard. You've got your lead sources, you can compare those. You've got your top performers. This is, when you see this in a live environment, it absolutely comes to life. And I'm sure Meredith at Macmillan Williams can talk to you about this, but it really does show you all of the referrers that a law firm has, what they've won, what's in the pipeline, so you can keep an eye on them and make sure that you are receiving what you would expect to receive, and also see who your top performers are. You've got your sales, you've got your reminders. Oh, I mean, there are so many different things that you can have on this. There's a heat map. You can see what your reach is. That's absolutely fantastic for multi-office law firms as well. And you can add as many different tiles as you can see here to your dashboard as you want. So you might only want certain things that are relevant to your job role within your firm. One of the things that we've had great feedback is your conversion timetable. It is so important that you would have all of your referrers here, and you get to see how long it takes you to actually convert them into business. This will help you with your business and analyze your best channels. Your email open rate, again, you want to know if you're sending out your quote emails, what is being opened, you know, so 88.2% of your emails sending out the quote are being emailed. That's great, being open, sorry, and that's great. If you're working in the quoting team, you're going to want to know why they're not going ahead, and there it all is. And you can just simply add any tiles that you want to. It's all self-serve. So all of the fee scales, all the setup, everything, it is literally all self-serve within Perfect Portal. So just to recap there very briefly, I've just shown you how a referrer can pass you a lead, how you can convert that into a quote and win that new business by getting that quote to them quickly and standing out from the crowd. From your website, again, you can have that as a lead, or you can be more transparent and have that itemized quote there ready for your client. You internally can service that client. So rather than that, when a client comes through, you're going, oh my God, where's my calculator? You can literally just instantly generate that quote in a couple of minutes, get it out to the client. That will help you win more business. And obviously that integration with Infotrack that gives you that quick link into Perfect Portal, but also itemizes the searches, which again gives you a more accurate quote for your clients. So that sort of finishes it for me. I'm going to hand back over to Adam, so I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you for that, Yvonne. Okay, I'd like to just welcome Meredith. Meredith, hello.
Hello.
Hello there. Meredith, would you like to introduce yourself, please? And
yeah, my name. Yeah, of course. My name's Meredith Heaper. I'm one of the business development management teams at Macmillan Williams. I've been with the firm about 18 months, and I was brought in primarily to increase our turnover of conversions from leads to actual cases, and thankfully that's working very, very well, particularly with the help of a Perfect Portal. And there's 5 of us within the team. We've actually just become so successful doing this that we've actually had to take on another me, a lovely girl by the name of Jodie, who's now working alongside me to do the same thing.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you, and welcome, and thank you very much for doing this today. So I thought it just might be helpful for people to get a bit of an insight into how Perfect Portal works for you. So first question for you, how does Perfect Portal make your life easier?
Oh, it is so much easier than the system that some of our conveyancers still have to use, which is very clunky, creating pre-clients, copying and pasting, working out stamp duty. I can do an estimate while I'm chatting away because it's so user-friendly. I don't even have to really concentrate on what I'm doing. So the client is chatting away with me and I'm doing the estimate, and literally within 2 minutes, I say to them, that's okay, it will be with you. I normally say to them it will be with them within about half an hour, and then I have it out to them within 5 minutes. I've already exceeded their expectations. So that's building me goodwill already, which is just such a massive boost.
So, okay, so great. So that actually is very nice link in. So you've noticed a shift in client service expectations since you've been doing it?
Oh, very much so. Now I have a lot of people, you know, will just say, look, just give me the quote over the phone. I'm waiting on others. They aren't waiting any longer like they used to. The lack of patience is right up there. Everybody wants everything immediately. And this means I can do that. I can generate it while I'm talking to them. I can give them the figure over the phone. I don't have to work things out. Just a few simple questions and it's boom, it's there and everything is available to them.
Yeah, so it just makes everything simpler. And do you agree that clients now expect that sort of level of experience and they can hire to convert? Easier to convert?
Absolutely. I mean, there are some we purely get emails through. We can't talk to them. We can't interact with them. And as you know, point of contact, interaction with the first person they come to is incredibly important. But with some of them, we can't do that. So the only thing we have to go on is the speed that we can produce the estimate for them and get it across to them, and the transparency of all our prices and our services laid out. So it's so clear and precise for them. And that helps me considerably when I can't actually talk to a client.
Brilliant. Okay. So with regards to those requirements from the CLCSRA, this price transparency, I mean, what for you, what does price and service transparency actually mean to you?
Well, I think one of the things that a lot of people go into this thinking they're going to get one fee. They're quoted a fee online or they're quoted a fee, but then all the other little bits and pieces are then added on later, which causes, you may have built up a lovely relationship with that client during the transaction, but then when they get a bill that doesn't include, that includes stuff that they weren't expecting, that they weren't aware of, that goodwill can dissipate so quickly. By having everything laid out there, even down to your ID checks, people appreciate it. They feel like you're being honest with them. They feel like you're being upfront and clear. And again, that encourages them to choose us.
Okay, thank you. Just a reminder, if anyone wants to ask any questions, they can absolutely online, and I can pose them. Last question from me, Meredith. I mean, what advice would you give to any firm looking to grow their business now?
I think one of the best things they can do is use the tools that you have made available to them. There is so much there, so many ideas, so many things that sometimes we don't even think of ourselves because we're so focused on what we're doing or have been doing for so long, that to have something new come in like this, to have everything there available is fantastic. I can work on trends, I can see, I can push, I can advise on areas that I see are struggling or there's a change in the market, purely based on the information that you've been able to supply to me.
So you're using the dashboard there as much as anything to help inform your business?
Oh, massively. Absolutely. I mean, we're used to seeing, you expect certain trends. You expect April, May, and June to be your busiest months, typically in the house moving market. And yet, looking at my dashboard, March was my busiest month of this year, which is not something I would have thought and something I would have expected.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So, okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to add at all, Meredith, or do you think we're covering?
I think I am a massive fan of the Perfect Portal. The way it makes my life so much easier. The support staff you have are absolutely amazing and cannot do enough to help. And I would just thoroughly recommend it to anybody, quite honestly. Okay.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Okay, so I think that really concludes today's webinar. There's no further questions from there, is there, Sassy? So, no. Okay, good stuff. Thank you. So it just remains for me to say thank you very much to our starring guest, actually, Meredith. Meredith, thank you so much for attending this and just answering those few questions.
No, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Thank you, Yvonne, for your demo, and thank you everyone else who's attended this today. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of insight. If you have further questions or want to know more, then please do give us a call or speak to myself about the presentation. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a lovely rest of the day, and good luck for the future. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.